So, Arsenal 2, Manchester United 0. They're all crying, Kenny Ken. They're all crying. Stoke FC. Cool. You need to get a corner to be able to score one, lads. You had none.
See, that's the thing. One thing I would say, the first half, Man United came for a point. You know, as soon as I saw their team selection and I saw Rashford was on the bench, Diallo was on the bench, I thought, right, he thinks that Rashford and Diallo won't be able to, track back. They won't be able to press. And, Rashford tends to walk around and he tends to be only active in attacking areas. So I thought he got his tactics spot on. But I always thought that it's only what are Man United going to be like if we scored the first goal?
Yeah.
So I looked at the second half and said, right, we scored the first goal. Let's see what plan B is. And plan B was bringing on Xerxes, bringing on Euro, and bringing on Rashford. So we saw what plan B was. You know what I mean? All right, good to see you, mate. You good, yeah? Good to see you, man.
Good, yeah?
All right, man. Yeah.
Kenny's getting mobbed again outside the ground.
It's definitely. But as I said before, one thing about it is that when you've got our set pieces, you can beat any team in the country. And when you've got a team that's bit inexperienced, bit in terms of team selection, but they haven't got a really settled team. That's when we came to the road. I've got to say, great delivery from Declan'S Rice, good goal by Timber, and a great delivery from Saka. Nice, headed pass by Partey, and bundled in by Saliba.
Bounced off his bum cheeks, Kenny.
Yeah,
it bounced off his butt.
And that's what was so funny about it. But all right, I can understand. If people, all right, people, we used to complain when Stoke used to play like that. We used to complain when Sheffield United used to do that. But at the end of the day, in English football, set pieces is one of the most effective ways of scoring goals. It was the same 20 years ago, and it hasn't changed. If you're good at
Kenny,
set
if
pieces,
it was that easy, why ain't anyone else doing it?
Well, that's the thing. The reason
because even if we don't score off of them, it's bedlam in the penalty box every time, isn't it?
And it was definitely bedlam for Man United. Poor old. I'm not going to say poor old Onana because at the end of the day, Onana's a big boy, but it was one of those things that every time the ball went into their penalty area, there was panic. Like they weren't sure when they were winning the corners. And you know what? I think it's since Sporting Lisboa, isn't it? We scored from a corner. Gabriel. West Ham were absolutely panicking every time we got a corner. And Man United today, I think we've got a mojo back when it comes to corners. One thing I would say though, there has to be other ways of breaking teams down, because one thing I would say is that I was a bit disappointed, with our creativity other than the corners. But you know what, Man United didn't make it easy.
Sorry to cut in there. We did have chances though, like Martinelli. Yeah, he was awful today. He was our worst player for me. He had chances to take Harry Maguire on and didn't do it.
Yeah, but
Odegaard had a chance. He had a chance in the first half himself.
Yeah.
We had the chance from what's his name? 29. Yeah, we did create a lot. We just didn't score them.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that we had to be very, very patient, because Man United were very organised, especially off the ball, and they managed to keep the ball. They weren't hurting us, but what they did is they kept themselves in the game by keeping possession, not giving it away. Every time Man United lost the ball high up the pitch, that's where we were a bit dangerous. But the Martinelli situation is that it has to be part of the conversation, because once again, the first half, Martinelli gave Bruno Fernandes a yard. Bruno Fernandes got, managed to, make that tackle for a throw-in. So you've got to ask yourself a question. Is Martinelli carrying the injury, or has he had an injury which has cut down a yard of his pace? Because right now...
Oh, mate, Bruno caught him up, yeah. He was on that half turn.
Yeah.
Bruno's standing there. Like, Bruno's on the half turn. Martinelli had a yard and a half on him and he caught him up. That was like 15, 20 minutes in.
How many times have you seen that? Livramento at St James's
Gusto
Park.
the other week against Chelsea.
Gusto. But, I was talking about Southampton at home early in the season. 29th, 8th of October. Sorry, September. Tyler Diblin caught him up with him. So it's one of those things where Martinelli at pace. Is he an effective member of the team? Yes, he works hard. Yes, he does get in defensive areas, and he is a good team player. But when you're talking about an attacking player like Martinelli, and you're talking about the fact that he supported his left back, that he won his defensive duel, defensive duels. This is an attacking player that some people were saying was elite. So something's wrong there, and that's always going to be a negative because right now we're playing really good football. We're playing well. We won through a couple of set pieces, but there's going to be times where the first half, I don't think he had many touches of the football to the extent that we all right. We were bypassing the left hand side and concentrating on the right, but even so, it's very difficult to look at Martinelli and say, you know what, when he's had a good performance, because even when he scores, we'll say, yeah, he scored and well done. But I don't see myself giving him what I used to give him, which was 8 out of 10 and sometimes 9. He's not produced those performances, but you know what? It's one of those things where you have to forget Martinelli and talk about the positives. The positives was Declan Rice's performance. You know me, I've always been like sceptical whether Declan Rice could play as a number 6, but today he did two aspects to his game I was really pleased with. I was very pleased with his ability to retrieve the ball, and like I said, getting Man United's faces from a defensive point of view. But you know what he did really well? He carried the ball. He carried the ball really, really well, and and that's one of those things where, when Declan plays like this, I think, yeah, that's the Declan that I saw last season. He hasn't been able to do it every season because obviously he had a toe injury, plus he's got a few cobwebs to the Euros. But if Declan Rice plays like this alongside Thomas Partey, we'd be a very, very difficult team to beat. But
was
right
he on
now,
the match for me? Declan got man of the match, yeah. But for
Oh,
me,
he-
I thought Timber was quality today. Him and
Tim- Tim-
Saliba,
yeah, but you know what happens, right?
and
In
we needed
football,
both of them to be quality because we
Yeah,
had Kivior and Zinchenko.
yeah,
But
but
I thought Kivior went under the radar today, and
I thought he did
Zinchenko.
well. I thought Kivior
Zinchenko
did
was
well.
quality, apart from that one when
Yeah,
Ahmad dropped a shoulder and he had to tug him back.
yeah.
But they were good today. That was a great performance today,
It
apart
was,
from Martinelli for me.
it was a great defensive performance. It was good. We grinded the result out, and that's what happens. Man United made themselves very difficult to beat, and we should never underestimate that. Man United would have seen the videos from West Ham, would have seen the videos from Sporting Lisboa, and definitely would have seen parts of Nottingham Forest game and thought, you know what, if we play expansive attacking football and we lose the boy up the field, this team's going to score 3 or 4 against us. And Man United just couldn't afford that in terms of their team morale and everything. It had to be that way. If that meant sacrificing Rashford, then sacrifice Rashford, sacrifice Diallo, sacrifice Xerxes. Because there's other games where Man United have to be more realistic and say, right, at Old Trafford, we may be able to play with a more attacking verb. Against teams that are outside the top 6, we'll be able to play with a more attacking verb. But today, it would be suicide, and we kind of knew that, and that's why we didn't get frustrated. What we did is we stayed patient and always believed in ourselves and said, right, let's just up the tempo a little bit and see where it gets us. And when we upped the tempo, that's when we got our goals. Yes, it was set pieces. It was Tony Pulis-ish, but
Yeah, but
as
they're
I said
part of the
before,
game, Kenny.
it's part. It is, and that's what I said. You can't criticise it. It's part of the game, and I've got no complaints about it because at the end of the day, it's up to you. At the end of the day, you have 5 days of training. If you're so perturbed by set pieces, well, do something about it. Get your set piece coach to try and do what we do. You know what we're going to do. You know if we run from the back to get to the front, or we run from the front to get to the back. You know what's happening. Deal with it. You can't deal with it. That's your problem, not mine.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I'm
if it's
happy.
that
I'm at
easy,
the point.
why ain't everyone doing it?
Exactly. I was criticising the team earlier in the season that teams were working us out, and they were working us out at set pieces. But you know what? We found another way to get into the opposition's penalty, lose our markers, and we're still dangerous. But you know one thing about it, delivery's better. Delivery wasn't so much great when we were going through that kind of like dodgy patch when we were struggling against teams we should be beating. Since the Nottingham Forest game, the delivery's been a lot better from set pieces, from both Declan Rice and Saka, and that's one of the reasons why, no matter how organised you are in terms of set pieces, no matter how you realise and probably know that it's coming, if the quality's great, then they're very difficult to defend against. You look at our second goal, Partey got on the back post. He like I said, he set the chance up to Saliba. Once you win the first header on the back post, or whether you flick it on, Defenders can't deal with it. I don't care what anyone says. They are what I call, in footballing terms, indefensible. But
Kenny, we was doing this under George Graham. Steve Bold, flick on, Tony Adams, and like Edda. Yeah, this is nothing new, but it's a new concept in this era of football. Well, yeah, we're old enough to have seen this under a different manager, yeah, right? But nobody can live with it. And even if we don't score, I know we scored twice tonight, and I think that's only 5 we've scored all season, and the Saliba one, that I'm not counting that as directly off a corner. So we've probably scored 4 with the Timber one tonight. But it's like they can't deal with it because of the panic, and this is why. And I'll let you go. I'll say this, and I'll let you go. Right. When Jurgen Klopp is saying whip the ball in first time to the box, it causes panic and bedlam, When we're whipping that ball in and we're doing all this 5 at the back, run forward, 3 at the front, 2 here, 1 here on the spot, it causes panic.
And that's the thing. But at the end of the day, you can only cause panic if the delivery is okay. It's good.
Facts.
If you're beating the first man, if you're not beating the first man, then what happens? It becomes comfortable. You're not always going to be able to cause panic. But today, in that second half, we caused panic. But what caused the panic is that they conceded from a corner for the first goal. So what happens when you know you conceded from a corner from that first goal? Every other set piece, you become the panic because, oh no, please don't let it happen again. And it can't happen again. But at the end of the day, it's down to the league to defend it. At the end of the day, we've got players who can create chances, but if we can't break teams down, set pieces is another bow in our arrow. And if people can't handle it, that's not our problem. We've won today, and we've had to grind out that result. And at the end of the day, Liverpool dropped points. It's down to 7 points. We did what we had to do. We found a way to win, and that's what good teams do. We're a good side. We're a team that wins the championship. We've got a lot of snookers to like I said, to overcome. But who knows? Let's just take one game at a time.
Yeah, very quickly before we go, who was your man of the match? I know Rice got it. You gave it to Rice, yeah?
I gave it to Declan Rice on the basis that I think
that was his best game for Arsenal this season, by the way.
Definitely, because I think he dragged us forward. He retrieved defensive situations for us. Can't knock it. That is what he's doing. The other day, he played to his strengths. We all know what Declan can do and what he can't do. So whatever to try and be what you're not, i.e. a complete central midfielder, do what you're good at. If you do what you're good at, i.e. retrieving the ball and then driving the team forward from the midfield, that's what you're good at. That's your strengths. Stick to them, and you'll go far, Declan.
No, absolute facts. Listen, Kenny, I'm gassed that you see another resounding victory at the Emirates.
Well, you've got to remember that I'm used to us beating Man United. I'm not, it's very
especially
rare.
At home.
Well, it's very rare since Sir Alex Ferguson left Man United that Man United used to have a very good record against us home and away, but they don't have a good record against us because at the end of the day, Man United their quality is diminished significantly. Even when we didn't improve, but we've improved to a certain extent where we're now levels above Man United. So the onus is on Man United and their fans to push the Geysers or push Sir Jim to provide money to this geezer, because they don't provide money, they're going to have to sell some players. At the end of the day, are you going to get £89 million back from Anthony? I beg to differ.
On that bombshell, listen, can you get him safely, mate? I know it's late where you are. Yeah, glad you've seen another win, and we go again this weekend, mate. Come on, I love beating that lot, mate. Fucking, I love it. Yeah, I love it.
I love beating Tottenham better, more.